Last week we looked at how to collect Echeveria seeds, and in this video we're going to be planting them. If you haven't watched the last video, it is linked in the description. Echeveria seeds are best planted fresh pretty much straight away after they have been collected. The viability can deteriorate very quickly, and if you can't plant them within a couple of days of collecting, they will need to be stored. Just like with any propagation, the seeds should be planted in the growing season. This is usually spring to early autumn. And it just so happens that Echeveria seeds do mature and are ready to collect during the spring or summer months, depending on the species. If you want to wait with planting your seeds, you can store them in a cool, dry place. Fridge is the best place, and seeds should last up to a year. The container cannot allow any moisture to get to the seeds, and you will need an airtight jar made out of plastic or glass. The seal is important too, and to make sure it's airtight, wrap a bit of cling wrap around the lid. If you've pollinated or hybridized yourself, don't forget to label the containers. There are a few options available, and you don't really need anything too fancy. You will, however, need a medium that will hold water well enough. I use the succulent potting mix we get for all of the succulents grown in our nursery, and to date I've raised many different succulent seeds in it. So if you have a bag of succulent potting mix that is not too gritty sitting about, you can use that. You can also use any generic seed raising potting mix, peat moss, propagating sand or coir. The vessel you plant the seeds in can be many things. I have seedling trays, but there are so many other options. It should, however, have a drainage hole and be fairly shallow. You can use meat trays, takeaway containers, fruit trays, small pots, etc. If they don't have holes, punch a few through with scissors or a drill. The holes are important as you don't want stagnant water and soggy potting mix. This could rot the seeds. Fill your trays or pots with potting mix. 5 to 10 cm thick layer will be enough. Because the seeds are so tiny, in my opinion, it is best to just sprinkle them over the potting mix to your best ability. You don't have to overthink this step. Personally, I put the seeds in my palm and try and spread them evenly-ish by brushing them off with my finger. You can also just pick them up between your fingers and sprinkle them across the tray. Pat or press down with your hand gently. Due to their size, the seeds won't need to be covered up with additional layer of potting mix. In order to germinate, the seeds will need to be kept wet and watered often. The holes in the trays should ensure the potting mix stays wet but not soggy. Water in your seeds immediately after planting and keep them moist until germination. Use the mist setting on your hose or watering can with small holes so the seeds are not moving around every time you water. This next step is optional but can help the seeds if you don't have time to water every couple of days. To keep the moisture in, you can cover the tray with a clear plastic or glass, or you can put the whole tray in a clear plastic bag. If you opt for the clear bag, I would suggest punching a few holes through just so there is some airflow. I personally don't use anything to cover as 1, I have time to keep an eye and make sure the potting mix doesn't dry out, and 2, creating this humid environment can encourage fungal growth. Having said that, if the potting mix dries out while the seeds are germinating, they are likely going to die. Extra cover will minimize the chance of that happening. Echeveria seeds germinate best at temperatures above 20 degrees Celsius. Around 24 is ideal. If it's too cold outside and you don't have a greenhouse, storing the seeds indoors while they germinate might be a good idea. They can be moved outdoors once a few little leaves pop up. If germinating outdoors, the seeds should be stored under a shade cloth or in a greenhouse. Young seedlings can easily burn in full sun. Before we wrap up, I quickly want to talk about seed scams. Unfortunately, they are a thing. I have a whole video about this which I'll link in the description, but basically be careful if you're buying seeds online. Only buy seeds from reputable businesses that are in your area. Echeveria seeds have a shelf life and may not survive the shipping journey. Also, on large trading sites such as the one starting with A, so many listings for Echeveria seeds are a scam and fake. And that is it for today. I hope this video was useful, and if you have anything at all to add, you can do so in the comments. For more videos like this, like and follow.